You're watching The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Angela Yee, Charlamagne the God. We are The Breakfast Club. We got a special guest in the building.
You-God.
Wu-Tang Clan.
Peace.
He's got a new book out called Raw. Let me start off by telling y'all this is one of the most phenomenal books I read. It came out in March. It came out now. But I read it last year. This book is great. Really great.
Let's talk about some of this book. Me and You-God go back. We were in acting class together when I was gearing up for my huge debut with Bokeem Woodbine, if you haven't seen it.
Who else was in this acting class?
It was You-God was in the class. Jim Jones was in a couple of classes. Oh man, what's her name from? Used to be on 106 and Park. Maxwell was dating her one time.
Free?
No. Jalisa was in the class. Who else was in that class? Terrence J was in a couple of classes with us.
Mr. 3000. What's the dude that directed Mr. He came through. What's his name? I forgot the dude. Big head
Good
director.
description.
But there was a lot of people in those classes.
Okay.
So it was always fun. But You-God was supposed to do acting heavy. Whatever happened with that? I'm just curious.
Nah, I just wanted my little assortment of things that people don't know about me. You know, I still got that in my monologues and all that stuff on the side. You know, I got little things I bring out if I have to.
Now let's talk about this book.
We learned a lot about You-God from reading this book.
Oh, man. Did you ever think you'd be the first person to write a book from Wu-Tang? I mean, they had the Wu manual, but...
I'm not the first, but, you know, my biography, because I've been working on this for like 2.5 years. I was like deep into just writing and putting together and going out and getting people to ask me questions and reflecting it back and just memories and thoughts and all that. You know, it took me like 2.5 years.
Let's take it back to the beginning when you started, before you got into the group Wu-Tang, and you were a kid from Brooklyn. What got you into rap? Because I was reading something where they said that you used to get bullied all the time. They used to get wedgied and picked on, punched in the face.
The Avenue crew. Back then, you know, when we was growing up, we had older people that used to terrorize the little youngsters.
Right.
You know, whether for our little monies, whatever, and, you know, whatever. So we had that. But music got into me when I was like, my uncle used to go to Harlem World. You know, he used to come back with these tapes, you know, Kumo D, the battles and all that stuff. So that was like my first little inclination of that. And then my mother's boyfriend, he brought me a Curtis Blow tape. You know, that was back in those days too, when Curtis Blow was big, and that was like the first gold record and all that. Then, you know, slowly but surely, it just started getting kind of big on, you know, in our little area in the black community. We had our little the Pumpkin and the All Stars and you know, Ralph McLaren, the Buffalo Girls and all that stuff. That was the big thing. Then Planet Rock came out and it just took over for a whole nother.
But your group is nothing like none of the
I know, but
rappers y'all mentioned about.
But that was the influence at the beginning. But then I'm really heavily influenced by Kane, you know, Rakim,
right?
You know, Biz, and that's the stuff we grew up on, going to Union Square and all that stuff back in those days. You know, Red Parrot and all that.
And you even talk about just RZA when he was Prince Rakeem and GZA when he was Genius, how they were the first ones to put their albums out. And the labels wanted them to kind of fit into that whole Big Daddy Kane.
We love you, Rakeem.
Yeah, they was trying to make him to Rakeem, and they was trying to make RZA into Rakim and GZA into Big Daddy Kane. That's how he was trying to collateralize those guys, but it didn't, you know, it didn't transpire.
One thing I found interesting about the book is, like, y'all kind of had gang culture, but it wasn't like what, you know, Bloods, Crips, but it was cliques.
Yeah, it was. We was very, very cliquey growing up. It was like during the height of the crack era, it was buildings against buildings. You know what I'm saying? You had 260, you had 160, you know, and you had 35, the Trey Pound building, you had 55. Those are all separate little entities that, you know, everybody had their little zone. You know what I mean? Then when they shit got slow, they wanted to come to war against us down there because we was getting on them. You know, it was just internal, you know, project beat.
But you were pretty good flowing through all the different neighborhoods.
Yeah, I was. That's because of my, you know, my brother's father was from Stapleton, and his family was a big family down in Stapleton. So I was able to go down to Stapleton. They didn't want to mess with the Best Brothers because they was maniacs. They was terrorizers down there. So I was able to go down there. So I was able to meet up with Ghosts and you know, RZA, Dorian, and Big Dan, all them crazy little juveniles, whatever. And then when I went to high school, I got more in tune with the West and New Brighton and all the other stuff, you know, other people out there in them areas. So it made me able to octopus my arms all out there, you know, in places where people couldn't go. So I was basically known on Staten Island, you know, more than a lot of brothers was.
And you saw your first death when you was 5.
Yeah, that was a crazy situation because it was, you know how it is. In summertime, windows is open. And see, in Park Hill, you got this one strip that goes right down the middle. And that's where everybody used to come out. You know, when things used to happen, everybody in the whole building used to just come out and see, like it was like an event.
Right.
And that was my first like event, seeing, you know, ladies just jump to her demise, you know.
A lady killed her. She committed suicide.
Yeah, she jumped off the roof.
You don't want to give too much away from the book.
Well, you said it, so I was just curious.
I didn't say what happened.
Yeah, it was crazy growing up in them days, man. That was the blackout year, the blackout, 77. You know.
And then how did the Wu-Tang form?
Well, that's a crazy situation because we always was together in some form of fashion.
Right.
You know, when Genius and RZA come to the Hill, they come to the U building. And they come on 16. When in front of the U building be me, Meth, you know, Dak, Kappa used to live in the building, so that was our little building. And Ray used to live the building across, right next to it. But he had his gate. You know, him and Power had their gate on 225. So Ray had to go, when he was hustling, he had to go all the way around, drop his little bombs off, and come all the way back, whatever he was doing, you know what I'm saying? So, but when they used to come to the Hill, we used to drop everything and go in the back, drink Valentine Ale with me, Dirty, Genius, and RZA. We just go in the back and just start versing and just chilling, and, you know, that was our brothers back then.
You and Meth really had a very special relationship, and you focused on that a lot. What I did like was you talk about being a team player in the book. And that's important for a lot of people, I think, in life in general, because you knew, okay, Meth is not going to be doing this street stuff. He has all this talent, and he's working really hard for it. So I'm going to make sure he's good, but I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing because you felt like I have to take care of my brother.
It was definitely like that. It was, you know.
Into the mic, you. Into the mic.
Meth was.
You. Into the mic.
Oh, Meth was 100%. Like focus, the focus level, he was 100%. Me, I was like 20%, and the rest was block. With street stuff. So I really wasn't focused like he was. Him and Dirty were like out of here mentally when it comes to writing rhymes and raps and all that. So I had to protect him because he was just that dude. And I always tell him like, yo, dog, you got something. Especially when he had an old lady, they used to scream out the window to him. This is a straight up story. He'll tell you the same thing. This old lady, she was an alcoholic, whatever, but she was a good woman. And she used to be out the window like, sing for me, singer. Just sing for me. And she used to be telling that to Meth. She said, you gonna be a star. You gonna be a star. Meth used to be like, I used to be laughing at him like, yo, dog. She used to be crazy. But every time we used to be on the block, she would open her window, sing for me, singer. And then Meth started beating on his chest, you know, doing his little routine and stuff like that. And they used to make her day, you know, and she was right.
How'd y'all initially get so close before you knew that like he had talent like that?
Well, me and Meth, I remember my first like running into Meth was in junior high school, 49. That's just when New Edition was hot. And everybody was doing the Candy Girl. Candy Girl.
Right.
And Meth had a Gumby. You know, not a Gumby, he had the Shag.
The Shag.
And he was ill with the steps. He used to know all the steps of that. And so I was like, you know, he was just an upbeat dude. Meth was never a downbeat dude. He was always upbeat. And that attracted me because I used to like upbeat dudes. Because, you know, being around all these little, that wasn't my thing. You know what I mean? I like dudes with mind and, you know, and just spirit, you know, and he had a good spirit.
But you didn't totally keep Meth out the street, though. He eventually got into the game a little bit.
No, Meth was hard for a minute, but it got to a point where he was getting too close to getting locked up. So I was like, yo, nah, we can't do this, because his before he became a street dude, Meth he wasn't really street. He was still going to work at the statue. He was doing his thing. But then after he lost his job, I grabbed him up because his mom's kicked him out the crib and he ain't had nowhere to go. So I was like, yo, come with me. And then we just started running around the streets, Batman and Robin. And at first he had to get his bones up. He was getting in fights. He was carrying ratchets. He was just running around. He ain't had no clientele.
Getting high.
Yeah, he was getting high. His fiends wouldn't talk to him. He couldn't get no sales. But give him about 2-3 weeks, he was running the whole block. Wow. He was shutting the whole block down. Dudes was mad at him. He was trying to blow guns at him because he was getting all the money now. It was like, yo, so he had to fight. He really earned, I could definitely say he came in and earned his stripes in there. So
what made y'all give that up since y'all were doing so well at the time?
Now,
crack was so big.
It sounded like we was doing well.
No, crack was big.
What made y'all stop selling crack?
No.
Crack was in jail too many times.
Nah, B, because it was
because you don't hear a story where people give that up when they give up making money.
Nah, B, it was hell. It was hell. It took a lot.
It kind of took RZA, you said, actually.
Yeah, but he grabbed Meth. He had Meth over in the stranglehold.
But even with you, because you kept being in and out of jail, you were like, look, if you want to do this for real, you got to give that up.
Yeah, he sat me down. I ain't gonna give. I can't even front. He was like a mentor to me with that. You know what I mean? He was just basically told me now like, yo, G, what you doing? You wilding the fuck out, dog. Every time you come home, you going back in the can. I wasn't even home for like 2 weeks. I was going back up for 6 months. 6 months. I was like, yo, man, I got tired the last time around. And he just told me like, yo, just give me a year of your life. If it don't turn out, you can go back doing what you want to do.
Right.
So I was like, you know what? I'm done. Phone's off. Connect. Done. I ain't.
Beeper's gone.
Yeah, beeper's gone. Done.
And that's one of the reasons. And that was as a lifelong Wu-Tang fan. That was one of the reasons you weren't on a lot of Wu projects early. And that's stuff we used to wonder, like, damn, why you God ain't on this like that?
Plus, I lost my rhythm too, and my focus wasn't there. You know, I wasn't really focused like that, and I didn't get a chance to really get focused until we got out the streets, started doing promotional tour, and then we left that life alone completely. And then next thing you know, it just hit me like, okay, now I can focus on just this now. You know what I mean, I had to worry about ducking from the pole 9 or we're dealing with all the weird elements that come along with the situation I was in, and that was that.
Yui, what made you decide it was time to write a book? Like, what sparked that in you?
Well, it's a funny situation. Said that it took me 2.5 years to write this, right? And what happened was that I was sitting one day, I was telling all these stories, drunk, high, and telling people these stories. They was like, oh, they was dying, they was laughing. Some dudes was like, yo, crying. I was like, yo, I was getting mad, emotions out of people. And I was like, the Domingo came to me and said, yo, dog, it's about that time for you to write this story, man, for real. It's too much. You got to just let it go. So I just sat down and I just started penning it. I had to get somebody to go over my grandma because, I'm still a little rusty on my grandma. And, and we just put it together. It took me 2.5 years, and I just, here it is.
Do you talk to anybody? Like, did you talk to Meth? Because you tell a lot of stories in there about Meth.
Oh, all these stories right here, he already know.
Got you.
Well, I'm sure he knows, but does he want him out?
Yeah.
No. I ain't
There's
go.
things you could have said.
Like when he was high off what was that dust?
No. He it was a situation where a fiend came through with a sheet of acid. I wasn't into that shit. Pardon me. I can't say shh.
Yeah, no, you can't curse.
All right, but I wasn't into that shh. So, and he took one. It had skull and crossbones on it. I said, dog, how you gonna take some from somebody you don't even know with some skull and crossbones? You must be crazy. So, he was like, whatever. So he takes it, and I leave him, because I had to go uptown. And I come back, he in the bushes.
In the bushes?
Stuck in the bushes.
For hours.
Now, mind you, I've been gone for like 3-4 hours. And I come back, he in the same spot where I left him. So when I grabbed him, I pulled him out of the bush. I said, yo, what you doing? He took off the rock.
Started running.
Took off, running. Ran around the corner to get some orange juice, some OJ, whatever he went to go get. So when I got to him, I said, what's wrong with you? He said, you was right. I should have never took that I should have never took that stuff. I was like, yo, dog, you crazy. You know what I'm saying?
But these drugs, that's crazy. We know people that have taken things and have never been the same afterward. That's why it's really a difficult, like, you can't just take something you don't know what it is, because we know people personally who took this and that person has never recovered, never been the same person, never came back to who they were.
Yeah, his cheese slipped off his crack. I know people like that too, but for some apparent reason, it didn't happen to certain people.
Right.
Some people were just like, into that stuff. I don't know. I wasn't into it. I never took an acid till later on. He got me to take another one.
After that happened, he got you to take it?
Yeah, like years later down the line. He caught me.
After you saw what happened to him?
He caught me in Miami. He don't even get coach. He only way could sucker me and stuff like that anyway. He be like, yo, George, come on, man. Come on, try this. You got to try this. So he'll just hit me. Like, I took a little piece, put it on my tongue. That ain't nothing. Next thing you know, I'm ripping up the bathroom. Onyx was there. I done spazzed on them. I went all crazy.
Like tearing up houses, man. It's another story you tell in the book about ghosts tearing up Brett Ratner's house.
Oh, man. That was a terrible situation. He feels bad. I know he felt bad about it, but he was towed up that night. We was towed back. I mean, like, we must have hit like a gallon of rum for Dolo. Must have had about 4 blunts to the head, and we was like, we was just terrible.
You they're beefing with Leonardo DiCaprio?
Nah, but he got out of pocket.
What'd he do?
What happened was Tip was there.
Q-Tip.
He was there, and I guess he might have felt that we wasn't giving him. We didn't really know him like that. You know how it is. We from the hood, so we converse with this little bit right here.
Right.
And he was on the outskirts, and he was like on the outside. And I don't think Tip ain't even introduce him and pull him in and say, "Yo, this is Bazzi, boom, boom, boom." So we was just giving him love, and he just said something out of his pocket. I was like, "Huh? What you say?" I was like, yo, listen, man, I don't care if you in the movies, bruh. And then, you know, it just got out of, you know, got raised for a minute, then it calmed down for a minute. But I just looked at him differently. I was like, oh, you know what? But then when I thought about it later, I said, you know what? He might have just wanted to be in a circle. That's all, you know.
And how ironic, he almost bought that Wu-Tang album that Martin Shkreli ended up buying. He was originally supposed to purchase that.
Yeah, you know, later on he came back to the studio, but I missed him that day. And Meth, you know, he came with Meth, and you know he got a pass. You know, he's all good.
Do you watch his movies now?
Oh, I've been watching. I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of Leonardo DiCaprio.
You know what's interesting too? You remember that old movie, The Show, back in the day? Oh. And you and Meth was arguing, but you know nobody knew that y'all was as close as y'all are. Yeah. You know, so it's just like I just thought that y'all were the two members of Wu-Tang who didn't get along, but y'all were arguing like that because y'all were people.
Yeah, we are. It's like Meth is me and him related. You know, we got so close that. He's married to my son's mother's, sister, and we got blood, put it like this. So it got to the point where it's like we blood right now, you know. So I mean, he acts like one of my cousins now. He like, you know, he calls me, you know, he just, you know, he know how to get under my skin and how to get on his skin. So we just be doing that to each other all the time.
So that's what, because that argument looked real personal. But I'm like, dang, they gonna come to blows, but no, that's our family.
Because he was talking a lot. He just was talking. I say, all you do is talk. You know, that's some big brother, little brother stuff, you know.
It's interesting. I feel like also, it's certain points where it seems like you feel like your brothers kind of left you out there hanging by yourself, except for Meth. Like in certain situations, you feel like they could have stepped it up some more.
Well, you know what? People handle tragedy. Everybody handles tragedy a different way. And as I got older, I had to understand that, you know. And like I didn't know nothing about therapy.
Right.
You know. As in the black community, we don't know nothing about therapy at all. You know, we self-medicate, we smoke, you know, to get rid of certain situations. So when my son got shot by stray bullets in the jacks, he was, you know, he's family, so he don't even count. But certain other brothers, you know, didn't really understand what I was going through, and I don't think they probably was going through any tragedy in their life yet to understand about tragedy, and that's basically what happened.
Now your son got shot, and what happened in that case? I know it was a straight bullet. He lost a liver, I believe.
He lost a kidney. Dislocated 2 fingers.
Damn.
He died twice and came back.
Now what happened in that situation? Was he just out playing and minding, and just a shooting happened, or what
happened? His my so-called babysitter at the time, because I was my homegirl, was one of my ex-workers. Her name was Shishi, and she wasn't. No, that's when I stopped. So she was just babysitting my son, and her thing was she just like to bring my son around. In the projects, you know, and just have them out there and, you know, take them for a walk. So she was walking through Stapleton, and at the time, these fools was going to war with each other, and you know, she didn't know, you know what I mean? And what happened? This is what I was told. What happened? Shots rang out. Dude picked up my son and used him as a shield.
A dude picked him up and used your son as a shield.
Yeah, and you know, he was on some sucker whatever, and that's what happened.
He tells the story in the book. You should read the book.
I know. I mean, I read some of it. How didn't that get you back in the game?
That was I was tore up for a while.
Because that's the hardest part. Because you know what you want to do, but you know what's best for you and your family.
And you could have got the dude who used your son as a shield.
I'm not even gonna say nothing about that, Black, because he's like this. They got a little. I drank some blood. Blood was tasted. But anyway, other than that. You know, it just was a situation where it's, you know, it just, you know, I'm still to this day, dudes still on some like scared, you know, paranoid, and he should be.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you actually did go to therapy, which you brought up just now, because you had a breakdown of sorts, because you never addressed, sometimes people don't address the things in their life that have affected them so much, you don't even realize that's what's making you behave a certain way.
One thing I talked about in this book is mental situations, whereas if you have a whole lot of stress, and you don't have an outlet or something to talk about, your body will shift and you will go one way and your brain will go another, and you won't even know what happened. They call that a mental breakdown. And that's what I found out what happened with me. You know, after I was talking to the therapist, and he was like, "Man, boy, you've been holding on to a lot of stuff. Jesus Christ, no wonder why you was in certain situations what happened to you." So I was like, okay. So when I got it off my chest, I started understanding more about, you know, the mental situation of, you know, I have PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, you know, from all the drama and all that stuff.
How often do you go?
Well, I stopped going, and I just started, you know, once I came to a clear understanding of certain situation, you know, because dude was getting me for $200 a session.
Mine's $150.
But what made
I
you
go every Friday at 3 o'clock.
Oh, you still going?
Yes, sir.
But he just started. But what made you go? Because back then you weren't going to therapist. You weren't taking your kids to therapist. You weren't doing none of that.
I didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know there was a person that you can go and talk to and talk about psychologically stuff, psychology stuff. I didn't know nothing about that. That was like it's amazing to me. I was like, for real? Mm-hmm. You mean I could sit here and tell you my problems and you gonna analyze me and find out what my flaws is and what diagnose my situation? It's all right. Let me give you a shot.
Now, after reading this book, it does seem like you have an angel watching over you, and you did talk about perhaps maybe some voodoo might have helped you stay out of trouble.
Oh, you're talking about the quantum physics, I called it. And that was the dread. It was a crazy situation, man. He was Fire was his name, and he used to run the weed gate in our building, and we used to do the crack, and he used to do the weed. But his spot was rocking 24 hours a day, man. We was kind of messing his cells up because one of my mans, when they were sticking the dudes up in the building because there's a lot of traffic coming through. For stick-up kids, that's a gold mine, because dudes coming through with pockets full of money, whatever. But anyway, long story short, my man was pulling, dudes who wasn't giving up their stuff, they was going out on gurneys every day. Dudes was getting shot every day, coming out on gurney. And he got mad at the situation. And and he just felt like it was cursed, and he taught me, he showed me some things that I talk about in the book about that culture that I didn't know nothing about that neither.
So you believe in it though, because you do believe that.
Let me put it like this:
you've escaped a lot of situations. Even going to jail helped you escape situations.
Put it like this:
guns jamming.
Yeah. Put it like this: I open my eyes. I am not saying that it's not true, and I'm not saying it ain't. It just made me aware of something that maybe like, is this possible? It just made me feel like that, like it's just crazy,
One thing in the book that hurt my heart was the fact that y'all aren't allowed to use the Wu-Tang logo.
Yeah, that is a situation we going through right now, and
that's you just have to pay to use it.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's one of our situations that we, as a business. We didn't realize how business situation we was in and how it really played out. Man. So, we don't. I can't say we never gonna be able to use it, but as of right now, that we just found out some things that that kind of broke our heart.
Yeah, but the 9 members of the original 9 of the Wu-Tang should be allowed to use it with no questions asked, because y'all all built that W. At the end of the day,
I would love for you to be in my around a fly on the wall just to say that. I'm glad you even broadcasting that, putting that in the air like that. Thank you very much.
I mean, not even just that, but even with Wu-Wear,
no, Power got his own thing.
Right.
I don't mess with P, because P put his money up in the beginning too.
But everybody did too.
No, I can't say that. Power. When I got counted out for the count, he came in and rescued.
Okay, because I thought in the book you said everybody put up like 40,000.
No, that was for Wu-Wear.
Yes, I said Wu-Wear.
Oh yeah, that was for Wu-Wear. That was our first rock tour. We went on Rage Against the Machine. We put up money to get him started. But before that, he was already running. Power took a little bit of money that he had, and he made it big off what he had. But we just added more to his capital so he could have an office and stuff like that, and make it more corporate, I guess.
What's your relationship with RZA now? Because in the book, I kind of made this crunch face, like, damn, RZA, you doing your people like that?
I mean, personally, I'm at the level of my life. I'm at the level of my life where I am not disgruntled about nothing no more. I'm just more or less understanding this is business, and that's what it is. I'm not that same dude I once was, man. I'm not hot-headed. I don't have the anger problems I had no more. I just on some smooth-go-lucky, just trying to grow old, graceful stuff.
But y'all have a brotherhood, though, and like Wu-Tang had principles and integrity and morals and values that helped raise us. So how are y'all not doing that amongst each other?
And when I'm saying this right now, makes you should have an understanding of where I'm at, where we at as brotherhood. Right. You got some things you got to just let go and just figure out. Just figure it out, and don't let money. Mess up certain situations. Don't let certain things.
Don't let cash rule everything around you.
You can't. Cash rules, the outside world, the physical and its material things that we need. And when money gives you, makes things easy, but it doesn't make you love. It doesn't give you love.
Right.
It doesn't give you happiness. You know what I mean? Only the people that you have around you do.
But if I got a bowl of soup, my brother got half that bowl.
Yeah.
Like that's how it should be.
Yeah, it's like that. It's still like that. I'm pretty sure if I need something, I go see RZA. You gonna be like, yo, yeah, boom. I just ain't never had to ask him for nothing.
Got you.
I'm one of those brothers. I was always self-reliant, so I just kept how I was rocking.
Was it really hard to to divvy up all that money amongst 9 people?
Not really. Not really. You know, everybody puts their work in. I got my pay scale. Everybody got their pay scale. And, you know, I make a good living doing what I've been doing, you know, for 20-something years. I'm not complaining. I'm happy to be where I'm at.
It's just hard to get all these people on the same page because there's certain things that if everyone doesn't agree, it's just not going to happen. Like the Rage Against the Machine tour that you guys were on. And some of you wanted to stay on that tour. And that tour was huge for Wu-Tang. I remember. Yeah. That's when I started working there after with Wu-Tang, when you guys were on tour with Rage Against the Machine. And you wanted to stay on the tour, let's finish it out, whatever, but everybody didn't agree. So that's hard when everyone doesn't agree, and then it kind of dictates what happens.
Yeah, and we paying for that to this day. And I told, and see, like, dudes, sometimes you got to let dudes get an understanding on this by themselves. Sometimes people get an understanding on their own, you know, and that's what they call for. Like, later on, they're like, you was right, y'all, you know. We should have just finished that. Because we only had like 2 more weeks left. We had a little short bit.
That was only 2 weeks left?
Yeah.
Y'all could have finished that.
Why y'all still paying for that to this day?
Because we lost our endorsements with Mountain Dew. You know, Zach, you know, from Rage Against the Machine, he felt kind of heartbroken. And I felt like we messed they up because they split up too. I feel like we was behind that. You know what I mean? But it wasn't, you know, it wasn't their fault. And he was performing with a broken leg.
Wow.
You know, I was like, man, this dude was running around with a broken leg. And we complaining about some little, you know, to me it was some sucker but, you know.
Whatever happened to You God's solo album? How come You God as a solo artist never took off like some of the other members?
Well, my situation was with Priority at first. My record seemed like every time I got into the groove, something happened. You know, the company, Priority, went bankrupt. Then I put out some, you know, I was just trying to find my way musically because, you know, I don't have nobody teaching me nothing. I had to learn everything on my own. So that was a little trial and tribulations and stuff like that, you know. So right now, that's why I'm slowly but surely getting back to certain levels, whatever. And I'm just keep grinding, man. That's basically what happened.
You also a real driving force to the clan. You talk about Meth, but you pushed Raekwon as well.
Oh yeah, Ray was my brother, man. Me and Ray did a lot. You know, that was my party. That was my party dude. Me and him stayed in the square. We stayed partying, Latin quarters. You know, when it's time to go out, me and Ray was always together. You know what I mean? Between me, Ray, and John Mel, those two. You don't know John Mel, but he was like you know, our go-to guy to go out, and that was that. You know.
You seem like y'all had like a competitive sibling rivalry, you and Ray. You even talk about he smashed one of his chicks, and you.
Well, he was, you know, that was on some Wu shit. And broads is broads, man.
Word.
He's a smash my pussy too, man. Pardon me. He gonna smash my poo too.
Yeah.
You know, he ain't no little. I ain't you know. It's just what it was, man.
You got Capadonna. You kind of put him on as well.
Kappa was a crazy situation because Kappa, I used to beatbox for Kappa. You know what I mean? And Kappa went to jail. It was another situation. He came home, and he just was, you know, then he was just doing security work and just trying to get his life together. And we was in the studio at the time doing Cuban Link, and they was missing verses. They had holes in the record. It was nobody to fill those verses. My verses wasn't strong enough at the time, and certain dudes just wasn't fitting. So I was like, man, go get Donna and stop playing. Go get Cap. They was just sitting there. So I just drove to the hood. He was right in 260 lobby. Grabbed him up.
He was doing security, or
yeah, he was doing security.
You took him from work.
I took him right from the job, right to the studio. He dropped his verses, and like I said, it fit right like a glove.
Yeah, he was like the third star of that album.
Yeah, he fit like a glove. You know what I mean? I said, yo, we got to win. I said teamwork. If I can't do it, got to find somebody gonna fill that slot.
That's hard for people too to admit that they're not the ones, because anybody else might have been like, I'm gonna just make sure I fit my way in. But you said, you know what, Capadonna is gonna be the better fit.
I'm not like that. I've always been that. You know what? If I ain't 100%, we're gonna find somebody gonna be 100%, because you gotta make this work. You know, I'm about the team, you know what I mean? At the time, I was very team-orientated, you know what I mean?
Were you good with your money at that time? Because you guys were getting so much money.
I'm always good with my money, man.
Yeah, because, you know, some people aren't good at, like...
I've been handling bread since I was 14, 15 years old. I mean, I lost stacks, got stacks back, lost it again. You know, I'm always getting it back, you know. Then I had to learn about taxes when you get in the game and stuff like that.
Yes, you do.
35% over here. Florida don't have federal and state. It's just got federal. You know, I just had to do a lot of homework when you get legal money, you know what I mean? So,
right, because legal money is so different, and then you have to think about, okay, now I could actually buy certain things, like invest in businesses, invest in buying homes.
Yes, but right now my investments was my kids. I don't blow a lot of money on my babies, and I told them all the time, you my Lamborghini and you my Rolls Royce. So stop acting up.
You mentioned the Purple Tape. That was supposed to be a Wu-Tang album.
Well, that's what RZA said.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know that till he said it. I was like, what?
Got you.
You know?
How do you feel about Martin Shkreli being ordered to turn over the $2 million Wu-Tang album?
I don't even know this dude. He look like a worm to me. I don't know this dude. I'm like, when I seen his face, I'm like, huh? How did you get my gangster? How did my gangster get in your hands like that?
Are you guys in the middle of a lawsuit over that particular album now?
I'm not in a lawsuit. I'm more or less right now. I'm in a forensic audit.
Okay.
Trying to find out what's going on.
What you're supposed to have financially.
Basically.
Oh, because you never got broken off from that sale.
Yeah, I want to see what's going on.
Gotcha.
You can't know. It ain't like the streets. I run up on them. Yo, give me my money. Nah, it ain't like that. I gotta get lawyers. Yo, call his peoples up. Injunctions. Get them, and next you know, they got him in the Cobra Clutch.
Did y'all know y'all was gonna do that with the album, or you knew?
Nah, we didn't even know. We didn't even know that was gonna happen.
You said they came and got separate verses.
Yeah, this dude Silver Rings, who was real close to the group at one time. It's RZA's little minion, whatever you want to call him. And he just said, got verses from here, and he put it together. And I mean, if you do it like that, it came out kind of chunky. And I'm on a song with Cher. I didn't even know.
Really?
Yeah, me, Redman was on the song with Cher.
On the album?
Yeah.
Did you hear it or?
Nah, I heard the before it went out. After it was all the verses together, I heard it one time. After that, it was a wrap. I ain't see it. I ain't hear it no more.
Wow.
Man, I love reading this book. A lot of the scenes and stories that you told play out like a movie.
Very vivid.
Yeah.
Even like you missed out on Kim K. It was very vivid.
Yeah, it was young. It was young.
You almost had Kim K?
Youngster, man. House of Blues.
Now, we don't know if he really he just got her number.
I ain't gonna get Deck did some sucker shit. He's scared her.
What Deck do?
He back then we was kind of grimy. Get on the phone, somebody calling, you gonna come over and give me some? Just don't even know who he is. Like I ain't going with them crazies.
Oh yeah, it ain't no fun if the homies can't have nothing.
Yeah, but Deck was Deck was crazy, man. He was crazy back then. He's a black dude, so
But even just hearing how Cream took off for you guys, basically the performance and the money falling from the ceiling, and then you said the song went gold within hours of you guys performing Cream.
Yeah, and prior to that, we was on the beach worried about if we was going to make it or not. You know what I mean? And then we already had all the videos in the can, so when we dropped Cream on Arsenio Hall, the next day we got the record reports. We was like, what? Just went because we was already like 200,000 sales with the chest box and all the stuff we put out. We was already at 200,000 sales, and as soon as we dropped that, this shit jumped to 500, and it just kept going.
That's amazing how an appearance on Arsenio Hall affected.
Yeah,
that was the platform back then. Though.
Arsenio, that's why to this day, if he ever need anything, from me, anything, so you just hit me, DM me, get in contact with me, bruh. You get anything, man. You get, from any brother, man, from any one of our brothers.
Is that the reason you named the book Raw? Because that's kind of like the first word that set it off for you on Mystery of Chessbox?
Yeah, that, and my life has just been, this is like straight from Bolivia, baby. It's uncut. You can't snip this without some cut on it.
I remember the first Wu-Tang album, they described you as a psychopathic thinker, but after reading the book, I'm not sure if that's an accurate description.
Hold up, you know that torture? I invented the torture.
Really?
I was the one that invented torture. We used to play out on the block because we ain't had nothing else better to do, and we sitting there waiting for customers, and we used to just think of crazy stuff to say, the things we gonna do to each other.
Wow.
And that's how torture came about.
What a fun game.
Well, amazing game.
We used to use it, right? You used to use it up here.
We used to do it on the radio.
Just think of all the crazy things. I will slice your butt cheeks and pour Crisco in your mouth. Crisco in your mouth. I'll fry your feet in sirloin grease. We just saying some funny stuff. Whoever could think of the most craziest, weirdest thing to do. No, I know it sounds kind of crazy, but that's why he called me a psychopathic thinker, because I came up with crazy.
Okay. Because it always seemed like you, in the book, when I read the books, you always seemed like you understood what you was doing was wrong. You was very self-aware, and you understood how to make things better. Yes, always. But I don't get it twisted. I am a funny dude. You're a funny dude. You should be a comedian. I don't know why you don't be a comedian. But because then I won't be funny no more. You know what I'm saying? when the expectation of being funny.
You're right.
You know what I mean?
You're right. 'Cause they pressurized my cabin like that too. As soon as you gotta do this, you gotta do that, you gotta do this. I'm like, can't even get it up. I'm like, dang, man, y'all may be bad right now, you know?
Do you feel like you've gotten everything you deserve out of the game?
Man, I've been in the game for a long time. I'm living, I'm breathing. I ain't in a coffin. I ain't in jail. My babies just went to college. Damn right, bro.
Word.
I'll let you
Word.
You God.
Go get this book, man. It's incredible. I actually, after reading this, I'm like, yo, I need a book from every member of the Wu.
That'd be kind of crazy.
I just do. I want to see everybody's side of the story.
We still waiting on that documentary.
Which one? Which one?
Yeah, the Wu-Tang documentary.
Well, right now, we still working on that. It's a crazy situation.
I just filmed for one.
Yeah, what you talking about? Master Pill?
I did one with with
Master
Sasha.
Pill.
Master Pill. Yeah.
One thing about this though, everybody ain't gonna be able to tell stories, man, because you know everybody wasn't.
They wasn't there.
They wasn't this deep. I mean, this is a deep situation, and I had to cut back a lot too, because some of my brothers is not, you know, coming home, and I don't want to mess their cases up because they're trying to come home on pills too. So I had to really like you know, just hold back a little bit more, you know, because I really wanted to spash. I really wanted to get into it, but you know, legal team was like, nah, you can't do that. You know, you gotta keep it. You know.
Gotcha.
That's crazy because I enjoyed the street aspect more than anything else.
What do you mean?
Like the street like y'all prequel to before Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like I enjoyed that. Like if you were a fan of meth, you'll be even more of a fan of meth after this book.
That's what I think the best part of the crew is before we became Wu-Tang. Because that dictates. Because you know, you always see a flick. Nigga was a kid. He sold crack. He became a rapper.
Yeah.
Right. That's the order you see.
And everybody had their own clique too.
Yeah.
Before you guys were together, everybody had their own cliques inside.
Yeah, but you never get a chance to see what built their character, though.
Yeah.
Right? What really built their character. And that's...
Even being at 5% is a large part
That's right.
of who you are.
That's right. And it's like, you know, today's mathematics is equality. You know, so it's like, you got to get into that. Like, you know, what's the characteristics of these actual rappers? And a lot of people ain't ready to shed that light. You know what I mean? And I think that's one of our special things we have going for us. You know what I mean? But you know, thank y'all for having me, man.
Thanks for coming. Make sure you pick up the book right now, and we appreciate you for joining us.
Yeah, Venom in stores too, March 30th. My people.
Got to do that together.
Right.
You got to put that together.
Yeah.
You know, it's cross collateralized the deeds.
All right, it's You God. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.